Welcome to Subway Sports Talk.
Dan, clear of the closing doors, please.
All right, here we go. Subway Sports Talk. My name is Peter Kennedy, and I am your host. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning into SST on Apple Podcasts app, Spotify, and on YouTube. Don't forget, social media as well. TikTok is back. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I'll count that as both with the YouTube shorts we're cooking out there. The content is coming and coming hard in 2025. Mike Didino, back again. Mike, what's up, brother?
What's up, Pete? Another day, another dollar. Not many dollars, but we're going for the dollars.
Now, what was more inevitable? Patrick Mahomes or TikTok coming back within 24 hours?
I was never a believer that TikTok was going to be down for too long.
Dude,
too much money involved, man. Too much money involved. Too many people. And, like, as much as I don't want to feel bad for the people that have devoted their whole lives, aka, like, these influencers, but, like, they have devoted, you know, their lives to this app, and they've made revenue off of it, and it's a business, and, like, you can't cancel that. So I didn't expect it to be down for long, and it wasn't.
Yeah, I actually never thought it was going to go down at all.
I was surprised when it went down, too.
Yeah, so I guess I was wrong for it going down, but it wasn't even gone for 24 hours.
I'm so petty that I was hoping that it went down for good, because I was like, maybe the new app will come back, and then, like, everyone's on fresh slate, and then it's like, all right, now I could really come at this from an even standpoint again.
Right. Yeah, I think there were some people out there thinking the same damn thing. I was thinking similarly. Like, listen, we're out here grinding on TikTok. We ain't got followers yet. Well, on Subway Sports Talk. Mike Didino, on the other hand, at Mike Didino _ Mike _ Didino. Have we?
I think so. I got a funny story about TikTok, actually, while we're on it. You ever see that former MLB agent, like Scott something?
Yeah. He looks like He looks a little cracked out, maybe, perhaps?
Yeah. So he put out a video
Please don't
today.
say he's like your uncle or something.
No. He put out a video today, and I commented on the video. And I actually like his content because I'm into the agent stuff. And he, you know, I've probably watched a lot of his videos, so his videos just keep coming up. It's in my algorithm. And he gets political on a lot of his videos, so I just commented. You're a loser, I said. This guy's such a loser. Then he made a whole response video about me. He went through my SoundCloud. He went through my YouTube.
No way.
He went through my LinkedIn page.
No.
He said I look like Aaron Rodgers with cerebral palsy. That one was pretty good. So, you know, I take it. My response to him is he just keep doing that coke, man. Keep doing that coke.
That's crazy, by the way. So he went. What do you have on SoundCloud? You making raps back in the day? What's going on?
I have, yeah. I mean, I guess like 6-7 years ago I was, but
that's crazy.
Yeah,
wow, the dedication.
He cooked me.
You got to understand the troll dedication by that man to find your LinkedIn page and be like, "Yo, what are you doing over here in the career path, bro?"
Yeah,
that's so funny.
I'm all for chirping, so you got me good. I come back and I say, you know, you ugly, old, and fat. So
yeah,
you're an ugly, old, fat cokehead.
You got to have fun with it. That's something that people online sometimes don't always try to do, is like have fun with it.
Yeah.
And you just can't tell through written text on a comment, right? Like somebody could be like, yo, that take is hilarious, bro. And they could be meaning like, you're an idiot. How dare you ever think that? Or they could be like, that was actually funny and you made me laugh. Like, you know, like you can't just read the words. But
well, the best thing is, we'll move on after this, is the things that people say behind a screen just always are funny.
Right.
Behind the screen, you'll say whatever the hell you want, but, you know, face to face, it's a lot different.
And behind a keyboard too.
Behind the keyboard and behind the screen, man. Everyone's a big man, myself included. But I'm also, you know, I'll say it to your face most of the time. Most of the time, depending on how big you are.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, you got to size them up first.
Yeah.
But no, it was inevitable that TikTok was back. We'll see how long it lasts. We'll see what happens with that whole crap. I kept thinking about, like, do I make my share of TikToks like everybody else was? Like, now that this app's going away, why don't you find me on da-da-da-da-da-da? And I was like, well, you know what? It's not going away. We'll be back in 24 hours. And here we were. And it was inevitable. Also inevitable was the Chiefs making it to the conference championship. And also inevitable when I don't know if you're familiar with 47 brand hats, Mike. 47
I do.
brand.
I believe this hat, orange hat, and this hat is 47 brand.
Yeah, great brand of hats. I buy them all the time. What happens when I buy them, though, they have something called the mystery box, and you get to just...
Oh, yes, I've heard about that.
It's half price, and
and you get a random hat, right?
Random hat. So I actually have both of them here, so let me grab the first one here. I bought a Knicks hat, and my first random hat was this Lakers hat here. So if you're watching on YouTube or even watching on Spotify.
I like that.
It's a sick hat. Do you want it? Because I will never wear a Lakers hat. I can't do it, but it's a sick hat. So if we see each other, I'm going to give this to you.
Yes, I will take that hat for sure.
The second time I did it, I got a Kansas City Chiefs hat.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. I like the other one much better.
That
one's more of a dad hat. See, that's a dad hat.
Dad hat. It's a little washed out maroonish color, which is kind of nice. I do like it. So I might actually have to wear that one. I just feel like
that other hat's beautiful.
How much of an ass am I going to be wearing a Chiefs hat? Like,
see, I'm not a big. Now you're not. You won't wear a Lakers hat because why?
Well, I am a Knicks fan, and the Lakers are a brand to me that you don't just get a hat for, in my opinion. Like, you have to either be a agnostic NBA fan or a LeBron fan or a front runner loser to wear a Lakers hat. No offense that you're going to wear it. But you're not a diehard basketball fan. Like, you're a Knicks fan. You respect the cool hat. I am a diehard Knicks fan. Like, I am a basketball fan. Like, if I'm going a non-Knicks NBA hat, it has to be like the Utah Jazz.
That's
fair. It has to be random. It can't
Utah's
be a
got
Lakers
cool hat.
one. I have a Utah hat right here. How about that?
Nice. I like
Fresh.
that.
Look at that. The hats are coming out like crazy right now. Nonetheless, I digress.
So yeah, funny you say that because I'm a diehard Mets fan, and you see right above my head.
Oh, see, that's no. That's a no.
I didn't buy it. It was a gift.
Okay. Could have been a mystery box. You could have said that too.
Yes, it was a gift. I did not outwardly buy a Atlanta Braves hat, but I wear it. I have no problem wearing it.
Okay.
It's a nice hat. It's a cool color. I have no problem. See, I've never been one of those guys that has a problem wearing. I've always have jerseys of other teams. I have hats of other teams, shirts of other teams. I'm wearing a Lamar Jackson Louisville t-shirt right now. I just always have been that type of guy to buy shirts, hats, jerseys. So don't care about the team. I'm all about style.
I get
at the end of the day.
Honestly, I respect it too because I do like other teams' things. I have a weird time with the big teams or rival teams. Like I obviously I'm a Mets fan. I'm not going to be wearing a Yankees hat. I can't wear anything.
Yankees is the one team I really would not wear,
which is very fair. So like Yankees
and Islanders,
Boston,
I wouldn't.
I can't do Boston stuff. I can't do Philly stuff. I wouldn't do Atlanta. I can't do the Lakers. I couldn't do it. But I could do like everyone in the middle of the country. Like shout me out. I'll wear your hat all day, every day.
Yeah, I just bought that Baltimore hat. So yeah, I ain't. Whatever you.
You ain't discriminating.
No, I don't.
Very good. Well, speaking of Lamar Jackson, we have a lot on the docket today. Obviously, the divisional round is in the books. Lamar Jackson lost, and the Ravens lost to the Buffalo Bills. We saw Commanders' massive upset against the Detroit Lions. So right now we have Chiefs versus Bills. We'll get into it. We have Commanders versus Eagles. We'll get into it. But the place I think we have to start, Mike, is Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Really just a heart-wrenching, devastating loss for the Baltimore Ravens, all their supporters, and anyone who obviously bet on them as well. They made their mistakes, and yeah, I'll put my hand up. Same here, Mike. They made their mistakes all around, right? The defense gave up some runs. The quarterback and Lamar Jackson turned the ball over twice. Mark Andrews obviously turned the ball over, and the massive drop at the end of the game for the possible tie. A lot of things happen, and now there's a lot to say and a lot to try to figure out with this Ravens team. So, Mike, do you even want to put the blame on somebody here? How much of it goes on Lamar? How much of it goes on Mark Andrews? Or how much just goes to the collective?
I mean, hate to be that guy, but blame goes on Mark Andrews. He dropped the 2-point conversion that hit him in the chest to tie the game, and he fumbled the drive before. You can say Lamar Jackson deserves some of the blame because he threw a bad interception and he had a bad fumble, but he played a very good game. They came back. They moved the ball at will, and I was thinking this morning, did they punt? I don't remember them really punting the ball. They may have punted it one time.
Maybe one time.
They moved the ball willingly all game. But in the NFL, if you turn the ball over 3 times, drop a 2-point conversion, and get a big phantom pass interference called on you on a big 3rd down, you don't win those football games. The Bills played a mistake-free game. They played a little bit too conservative in the second half and almost burned him, but they played a mistake-free game. Josh Allen, who was kind of notoriously known for making a lot of mistakes, has played a really clean season. And at the end of the day, if you don't turn the ball over, you don't need all the flashy plays. You don't need all the big plays. You don't need to win the yardage game. Very similar to the Chiefs. If you play smart, if you play safe, and you win a turnover battle, you will win a lot of games in the NFL. So I don't put much blame in Lamar Jackson. He played a great game. He made a few mistakes. That's kind of his mojo now in the playoffs. But like simply put, it was Mark Andrews' fault.
Yeah, and I think when you really break down any game, right, like you're going to find mistakes from both sides.
Yeah,
you're
and I hate to be that
moments.
guy to say it's his fault because you could go back and say this play and this play and this, but he legitimately lost them the game.
Well, he lost them the chance to win the game, right? Because it would have went to overtime. They would have went to
maybe.
overtime.
Buffalo probably would have went right downfield and kick a field goal, but
true. Yeah, did any part of you when they scored with 1:30 left being like, damn,
absolutely,
a little quick
way too
there.
much time. I was hoping the score with 20 seconds left. Let's go to overtime, win the coin toss, get 6, smell ya.
Right, that was all the Ravens bettors' hopes, and I gotta say, I put my neck out for Lamar Jackson on this podcast over and over again amongst all my friends and all my people out there in the Subway Sports Talk world and beyond. So I got a few texts from some people saying, choked again. What a loser. Lamar Jackson this, Lamar Jackson that. And I got to say, I was hurt last night, Mike. I can't remember a time that a team that isn't one of my teams lost a game that I was that like devastated about. I was hurting about that one. I do feel like the Lamar Jackson story has been a difficult one for people to wrap their heads around for like his entire career. Most people have gone past the fact that he's obviously an elite quarterback. He's top 3. He's whatever you want to put him. He's in that conversation with Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, whatever. But the playoff thing is becoming real now. You're seeing the memes about James Harden. You're seeing Joel Embiid, Julius Randle, Aaron Judge getting brought up into the meme conversation here with Lamar Jackson. And to me, it's just too far. Because yes, you made mistakes early in the game, but he did everything he could have to get them back into the game, to make up for those mistakes. And yes, could that throw have been 6 inches higher, 5 inches out more in front of him? Absolutely. But that ball needs to be caught 10 times out of 10. And the fumble from Mark Andrews, shout out Mark Jackson, from Mark Andrews earlier in the quarter there was probably even bigger, right? Because where is this game at if he doesn't make that fumble after a massive, 25-yard gain where he decides to cut back to go across the field and then he fumbles? That was brutal as well. I also feel terrible for Mark Andrews in this situation. Like, how can you be a human being and watch that and see Mark Andrews make those 2 massive mistakes in this moment, knowing how much work he puts in, how much crap he's going to get, and see him and not feel just like heartbroken for a dude like that? But that's sports, man.
Devastating for Mark Andrews. Actually, the algorithm's something else. I saw his wife's Instagram came up on my phone, and she turned her comments off, so I'm sure they were getting it there. You got to stay off social media if you Mark Andrews. Listen, it's the highs and lows of life, and unfortunately, he's going to go through a lot of lows right now. He made the biggest mistake of his NFL career and one of the biggest stages of his NFL career. And, it's so tough. Like you said, you work all year. Bill Parcells always said this. You work all year for a chance. You put your bodies on the line for a chance to get to the Super Bowl, right? Your lives on the line. You devote all this time, all this effort, all this game planning, everything all day long for months and months and months to get a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Now you lose a game like that, and you got to do that same rinse repeat just to get back potentially to where you were this year. It sucks. Ravens, though, to make a long story short, beat themselves yet again.
Yeah, and that's the crux of it, right? You got to do this again next year. And if you think about last year, Josh Allen was in this exact situation. Josh Allen caught the Chiefs in round 2 last year and lost that game. And there they were, Chiefs versus the Ravens in the conference championship. Now we got Chiefs versus Bills. So the Chiefs remain inevitable for now. We'll get to that game later. But yeah, you put a good pin in there for the Ravens conversation. Obviously Zay Flowers not in the game either here. Now you just got to see what are they going to do moving forward. What is Derrick Henry going to be like one more year later? Because he's another guy. First half, he couldn't get going. Second half, oh my gosh, making up for all the lost time in that first half. He was incredible in the second half. And they just left a little too much on the table over and over and over again. And the Bills get victorious and move on. We'll get to the Bills in a little bit. Before we get to the Bills-Chiefs game, Let's talk about another situation here, Mike. The Washington Commanders took down the Detroit Lions. This was a live dog from the get-go in this game. It was a game that we spoke about with Jayden Daniels last week on this very podcast right here on Subway Sports Talk about how he is looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. And I think it's time to have that conversation, Mike. The top dogs are in the AFC. We just named them. Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow. That's the top four. I don't care who you are, what team you root for. That's the top four. We go to the NFC now. Is there a better quarterback than Jayden Daniels, Mike?
It's a great question. I think it depends how you break it down. If I were to build the team from scratch and you gave me all the NFC quarterbacks, would I take Jayden Daniels first? The answer to that question is absolutely. I don't even know who else you would take. Based on age and everything, you take Jayden Daniels, right? Who else do you even make the argument for at that point? You're not making Caleb Williams at this point over Jayden Daniels. You'd have to be on crack. Trying to even think. Jalen Hurts would be the other one, I would presume.
So let me give you some names then.
Yeah, give me some names. Well, what's the question? Is it from scratch or is it win a game?
Let's start off here because I feel like the question for if you're building your franchise, who are you taking? I think that's easy in the NFC.
Yes.
Like if you're building a franchise, then you're talking about younger guys. You're talking about primed guys. You're talking about Jayden, Jalen, Jordan Love. Like that's it. Everyone else who's decent in the NFC is a little older, right? If we're talking about Dak or Matt Stafford, like they're a little older. So let's talk about right here, right now, right? Right here, right now. Tomorrow, you have a game. Is there another quarterback you want in the NFC over Jayden Daniels? And now I'm going to give you some names. Matthew Stafford, who we just beat. Kyler Murray. Brock Purdy. Caleb Williams. Jared Goff. Jordan Love. Jalen Hurts. Dak Prescott. Any name of those sound better than Jayden Daniels right now?
I'm trying to pull up a clip right now, but I'm not going to. I was going to pull up the Max Kellerman video when he says, "What the Martians pointed down on me, and my life is on the line." Give me Matthew Stafford over Jayden Daniels, but it's very close. I mean, it's close. Gun to head. I always like to use gun to head. If you pointed a gun at my head and my life depended on it, and I had to win a game tomorrow to go to the Super Bowl, and I had to pick between Jayden Daniels or the field of names that you gave me, but I had to pick one of the names, I think I would take Matthew Stafford right now, and it's really close, but I like the experience. I like the playoff experience. I like that he's already won one. He's still playing at an elite level. If I get McVay, I even like it more.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Jayden is, man, these quarterbacks, these dual threat quarterbacks, you cannot stop them on 3rd and short and 4th and short.
Can't
it's a
stop
cheat code. If you have a good play caller, offensive coordinator, head coach, and you have a good game plan on 3rd and short and 4th and short, you cannot stop these guys. You just send him to the outside and they beat a linebacker there every single time, or you just sneak him or run some draw up the middle and you can't stop them. It's really close between Jayden and Stafford. And just because I'm an old school guy, I'm going to give it to Stafford. One of the, just one of the real vets of this league. But it's close, man.
I think in this exercise, right, all things are equal. They have the same line, the same receivers, right? In this exercise, obviously that's not reality. But if that's the case, same coaches, same receiver, same offensive line, all that stuff, Stafford is the only one who I would put in the conversation. Maybe you take Jalen Hurts as well. But Jalen Hurts to me is a weird case where the passing is not as good as Jayden Daniels, and he's not as dynamic as Jayden Daniels.
I would take Jayden over Hurts.
Who's a better passer?
If you put Jayden Daniels on Philly, I think they would be, and it's almost unfair to Hurts because all he's done is won in his whole career.
Win.
All he does is win, and it's really unfair, like that we're even having this conversation. A guy that was a phantom defensive holding call from winning the Super Bowl,
right?
Then the collapse last year still made no sense, but then this year they've lost like one game in the last 3 months. And are heavy favorites to go to the Super Bowl and favorites to win the Super Bowl, and yet nobody wants to give Jalen Hurts his chicken. But I think if you break it down, like you said, Daniels is a better passer, Daniels is a better runner, Daniels is probably the better athlete. He probably has the better arm. The only thing that Jalen Hurts is better is he's a better team around him. So
yeah,
if you're gonna you're gonna make me pick one. No disrespect to Jalen Hurts, very very good quarterback, but I'm gonna take that shiny Corvette in Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, it's weird that it feels not close because it should be. And I just put out the TikTok and Instagram reel and YouTube short on Subway Sports Talk. So if you don't follow us over there, check us out about the Eagles. It's been strange, man. What a weird year. They're 14 or 15, 16-3 now with the 2 playoff wins, 16-3. All they do is win. Even the games that they lost this year, Jalen Hurts got knocked out, I think, of 2 of them. Like, he didn't play 2 of them. So, or if he was the last game, I forget, whatever.
Well, they lost the one game to Washington, I believe, when he got knocked out.
He got knocked out of that game. They lost to Washington. And then he didn't play in week 18. So that's another loss.
But they won that game against the Giants.
Oh, correct. They did win that game. But nonetheless, Jalen Hurts has done nothing but win.
They lost 2 games early on, and I believe they were 2-2. And then they went on like a 11, 12-game win streak, and then only lost when he didn't play. And then obviously won the 2 playoff games.
And with Sirianni, it's just a weird vibe. AJ
and everyone
Brown's
hates Sirianni too. It's funny.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything but win as an Eagles head coach. And I guess last year you could probably point to more negatives if you really want to, but he's done nothing but win. And yet all we do is sit here and say, man, don't like their vibe. They're not actually that good. They can't throw the ball. They can't do this. They can't do that. And now they're the favorites to win the damn Super Bowl. So yeah, maybe we like Jayden Daniels better, but at the end of the day, Jayden Daniels losing to the Eagles most likely will not be an indictment on Jayden Daniels. I could see him going out there and putting up a monster performance 9 times before I see him put up 1 stinker. Him putting up a stinker right now is actually crazy to me. I can't even fathom him going out there and getting completely shut down. That's how dynamic he's been so far, Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, and the spread's interesting in that game because you'd guess everybody's on Washington, right? Only 5.5-point underdogs. Seems like a fair line. Do you think that Jayden Daniels could go to the Super Bowl in his rookie season? Would be the first quarterback since do you know who?
Well, Big Ben wasn't a rookie, right, when he went?
I believe he was. And I didn't stat check this or anything, but I believe Big Ben was a rookie. He went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Big Ben wasn't a rookie. It was his first year playing.
Okay, yes.
I can't remember precisely. He might have not have been a rookie, but it was his first year as a starter.
I'll look it up.
But yeah, Big Ben, only one. We've had some guys, get close. We had guys make the playoffs. We had guys win playoff games. But this is now different, right? This is a different level.
Oh, he would be the first rookie quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I'm not really finding make. But
yeah. But yeah, as you look that up, I'll just continue on Jayden Daniels here. Their offense has reached a point of pure dynamicism that you don't see anywhere else in the league right now. You kind of thought the Detroit Lions were there, but that Jared Goff isn't as mobile as Jayden Daniels. And clearly whatever was going on with Detroit, it just wasn't clicking the same as the Commanders were. So there might be the most dynamic offense that still remains in the playoffs right now. And you could obviously argue with Saquon Barkley and that whole thing that they are more dynamic, but their passing game just has not been there. So I'm excited to watch them. 5.5. We'll make some thoughts on the lines towards the end of the football conversation. But for now,
go ahead. No, move on. No quarterback has ever made the Super Bowl as a rookie. Big Ben was the youngest quarterback at 23 to make it, and that was obviously not as a rookie because he was backing up. I don't even remember who he was backing up. That's a little before our era. Talking about 03 now, 02. John Kitna or some shit.
John Kitna. Nah, it was, I feel like I know who it was, and it's going to bug me out.
It's going to bug me now, too.
I'm going to have to look it up why we do it. But why we do it, I will, did I find it? Hold on. Tommy Maddox? No, that was...
I don't think so.
That was before Big Ben. Let's see. That was a year before.
So maybe it was Maddox.
Could have been Tommy Maddox. Remember Charlie Batch?
Charlie Batch. I remember Batch. So
yeah,
we're talking 02.
It was Tommy Maddox. So
wow,
Big Ben's first year starting, Maddox started the first 3 games, and then Big Ben came in and went 13-0.
Yeah.
And then the rest is kind of history for them. That's insane. All right, on to the Detroit Lions quickly, though, Mike. This is a weird one because the Detroit Lions lose in round 2. They didn't even make it to the conference championship, which seemed like an absolute lock. Like any point during this season, if we said, who do you feel safest about making the conference championship in their respective conference, you would have said the Chiefs and the Lions, without a doubt, right? And now they go ahead and lose to the Commanders, and their world gets flipped upside down. Their coordinators are obviously the hottest on the market. Ben Johnson officially gone to Chicago. Aaron Glenn on the market, could be the Jets' new head coach, who's to say. And now things are starting to get questioned about Detroit. Ben Johnson was getting questioned about his offensive coordinating. Obviously, the injury concern was a big thing. Can Dan Campbell get over the hump? Is Jared Goff the right quarterback? All these questions come into play, and this team that we thought had a pretty incredible Super Bowl window starting with this year, that window doesn't seem to be as wide open as we thought it was. How deep do your concerns lie with the Detroit Lions, Mike?
On a scale of 1 to 10, about a 4. Not very concerned. Another team, though, they kind of beat themselves. You can't turn the ball over 4 times. You can't have receivers throwing passes on trick plays after you already ran a play for him on a trick play. You can't give up 50 points on defense and expect to win playoff games. The Detroit Lions have a very good nucleus, so they have a very, very, very elite, if not top 2 offensive line in the NFL. They have arguably the best young running back in the NFL. They have a top 5 receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have a very good young receiver in Jamison Williams. They have one of the best pass rushers in the league in Aiden Hutchinson, who obviously was out. They were banged up on defense. That kind of seems like it bit him in the butt. The biggest question with the Lions is, can Jared Goff elevate them into legitimate Super Bowl champion contenders? That is the only question I have. I think he can. The problem with Goff is when he's on and not making mistakes, he's great. But he notoriously gets into these funks when he just turns the ball over too many times. And they had a game earlier in the year, Monday night against Houston, when he threw like 5 interceptions, and I think they won. But it just reminded me of that game. Just, Goff's one of those guys that went first pick, never lived up to the hype in the Rams. They dumped him. They made the Super Bowl and then dumped him because something in him, they didn't think they could get over that hump. So 5 out of 10. My biggest question comes down to, is Jared Goff able to get it done?
The Jared Goff question will always be a question until he gets it done, too, right?
And and it's fun now to say no, he can't. But what is your alternative? What is your alternative to Jared Goff?
It's not good. I'll tell you that much. Right now, if say the Lions wanted to go ahead and make a move to try to get a new quarterback right now, they're either taking an absolute long shot at the back of the first round, second or third round or something like that, or they're making a trade that doesn't exist, or they're signing a free agent who's not as good as Goff. Goff is really good. I think we have to put that to bed, right? He's really good. But is he great? Is he good enough to get them over the hump? I think yes. I think game script wise, this was a weird one to me. I could not believe how much David Montgomery we saw from the Detroit Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs.
I said the same thing.
He was the most explosive player on the field. He was untouchable. He was getting 7 yards a carry. He was absolutely killing it. And also throw him the ball in the open field from a pass perspective. He had 6 for 70 in the catching game as well. Gibbs should have gotten 5 more carries, and Montgomery should have had 5 less. I know Montgomery only had 7, but it was obvious to everybody sitting at home that Gibbs was the game changer. Gibbs was the one making the plays. And I know when you get to the playoffs, you want to say, hey, what got us here? We should lean on, we should rely on what got us here. And that is David Montgomery being consistent, being tough, being a good runner, a dog, whatever you want to call him. But there was no business for him to touch the ball over Jahmyr Gibbs in that game. And
but let's be real, that's not why they lost. That's not why they lost. David Montgomery getting, what did you say, 7 carries? Is that why the Lions lost?
No, it's not why they lost, but it could have been a little bit of a game changer at certain
points. The
points.
Lions lost because they turned the ball over 4 times on 4th and 2 on the biggest play of the game. They had too many men on the field.
Unreal.
And then you have receivers throwing passes for interceptions. Like, you just cannot make those mistakes. And the great teams don't do it. You know what I love? We always have this conversation around this time when we get to these championship games. Can Goff get it done? Can Lamar get it done? Jayden Hurts is getting... So who do we like? What quarterbacks do we like out of every...
Agree.
No, Mahomes is 1-1. Nobody can dispute it. Everybody hates him, but nobody can dispute that he's 1-1. And then after that, according to everybody's a question mark. It makes no sense.
Everyone can't be a fraud. I could not agree more. This drives me off the wall. How can you call every quarterback in the league a fraud? Because by your explanation, and not you, Mike, you, the person out there who criticizes every quarterback who loses in the playoffs every year, how do you even like the sport? How do you have fun watching this sport? Because you're calling every single quarterback who hasn't got over the hump and won a Super Bowl a fraud. So that means the only non-fraud quarterbacks in the NFL are Patrick Mahomes and Matthew Stafford. And I'm not counting Russell Westbrook because that's a different guy who won the Super Bowl, all those years ago. Russell Westbrook, him too. Russell Wilson. Like, those are the only people who are not frauds. Lamar's a fraud. Josh Allen's a fraud. Joe Burrow's a fraud. He couldn't even make the playoffs.
But think about it. Think about the conversation we're having today. Is Lamar Jackson a fraud? Is Jared Goff a fraud? What conversation did we have last week? Is Justin Herbert a fraud?
Jordan Love, right? Yeah.
Like, what are we? Not even in general, but what as a NFL fan base are we doing? Even my buddy Lamar sucks. He was mad because he was. Lamar does not suck. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You can't even dispute that. And he made a few bad plays, and he continues to come up a little short in these playoff games when mistakes are just so in your face. The only guy not doing it is Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And Jalen Hurts, but nobody likes him. But the only guy never doing it is Patrick Mahomes. But everybody loves to call every single quarterback a fraud. Everybody sucks. Goff sucks. Herbert sucks. It drives me nuts. It really does.
To that, I agree, dude. It's out of control. I get in so many fights in my group chats on, 3 or 4 different friends groups. People texted me about this guy and that guy. I'm like, who do you like? You know what? You're not getting credit if you just predict that everybody's going to blow it. If everyone's going to blow it, then you're going to be right 99% of the time because they're going to end up falling on their face at some point, like everyone who's not number one does. You can't do that. You're not smart for saying that this person's going to lose in the playoffs because most people do every year. Unbelievable. It's the same thing with the NBA. And I know you're not an NBA guy like that, but the ring culture in the NBA is crazy. Like,
it's the same thing.
Chris Paul is forever a loser in about like half of the fan base's eyes because he's never won a Super Bowl, an NBA Finals. That dude has had incredible moments. He's had incredible years. He's an absolute Hall of Famer. Like, he's a fraud. Sure, I guess Chris Paul is a fraud. Everybody's a fraud. Everyone in the NBA who's not Jokic or LeBron is a fraud. And people call LeBron a fraud too. Goddamn,
everybody will not. I don't want to talk about the NBA too much, but that's why LeBron kind of went to Miami to kind of get off that monkey off his back of him not being able to win a ring.
Right. So Jared Goff, he's kind of on the super team, if you will.
What is Jared Goff? Jared Goff is anybody that has any common sense, knows football, and is not too much of a hothead and doesn't overvalue one game knows that Jared Goff is a very good quarterback. Is Jared Goff an elite top 5 quarterback in the league? No. Can Jared Goff win you games in the NFL? Absolutely. When you make turnovers like the Lions did and you get a 50 burger hung up on you and you get too many men on the field on 4th down, you're not going to win playoff games. It's ridiculous. You got receivers throwing passes. You're not going to win those games. It's that simple.
And a running back. Ed Montgomery threw a pass too. He actually completed it. He was 1 for 1 for 20 yards. But yeah, no, it's a matter of, does your quarterback, is he going to absolutely elevate your team to give you a chance to win? Or is he going to absolutely stabilize your team to give you a chance to win? Those are the only 2 ways, right? You either have a quarterback who's on a rookie deal so you can build out a massively talented roster and they could be stabilized and you can win. Maybe you hit, strike gold with a great rookie quarterback, great rookie contract, I should say. Or you have a Patrick Mahomes that you can afford to pay $50 million a year because he's going to elevate everybody. There's only 2 ways to win in the NFL. A quarterback who elevates everybody and the roster suffers because of it, but he elevates so much, or a quarterback who stabilizes so well and the roster can thrive around him. That's it. You can't have fraud and not frauds and whatever this crap is. God damn. Got us all fired up here on Subway Sports Talk. Let's move on, Mike. Let's keep it pushing here for a second.
Move on.
So now we just talked about Detroit a little bit here and their window, their Super Bowl window. Right now we have 10 losers so far in the playoffs. I'm going to name them for you real quick. The Ravens, Texans, Lions, Rams, Chargers, Steelers, Broncos, Packers, Vikings, and Buccaneers. Yeah, 10 teams. So we got 10 fraudulent teams now who have lost in the playoffs here. Out of those teams, is there one team that stands out to you that the future is still brighter than it is today, right? The future is still bright. The Super Bowl window is still there, at their fingertips. Out of those teams, who do you think has the brightest near future?
I think it's an obvious answer. I think everybody would agree that it's the Ravens and the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
They're just a notch above all those other teams. And then the other teams, teams that have a chance. Houston played a good game on Saturday. They got a tough defense. They got a good head coach, and they got a good quarterback. And Nico Collins is a hell of a receiver. They're not terribly far off. Problem is the AFC is stacked, and you got to go through Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes every year. So it's going to be tough to get out of there. They should be the best team in that division, though, moving forward every year. The Rams, we know what they got. You got Stafford, McVay, Nakua. You're going to have a chance, but their window's obviously closing. The Chargers are interesting because we think they have the quarterback. We think they have the coach. Now we got to see what they do in free agency. The Steelers are dead. The Broncos I love because I love Sean Payton. He's maybe the best top 5 coach in the NFL. You got the good young quarterback like you just talked about on the rookie contract. They're an interesting prospect. But again, they play in the AFC. Green Bay, and I'm just going through every team at this point. Green Bay, they're a team I'm kind of up and down on. Last year, I would have said, yeah, they're going to be great. This year, I don't know anymore. Jordan Love, up and down year, banged up for most of the year. You mentioned last week you like their receivers, and I was thinking about this as I was listening back to their podcast. I really don't love their offensive skill weapons over there outside of Josh Jacobs, but they have the head coach, and we think they have the quarterback. They do have a bright future. The Vikings, murky future, but they have the quarterback. And what we think that they took with the 10th pick, J.J. McCarthy, Sam Darnold, he's a goner. And the Bucs, they're one of those teams that will be good, but they will never be great. And that's my take on all those teams.
Sounds like to me that you're putting the Ravens and Lions ahead of everybody else. And then the Chargers, Broncos, Packers, and Texans, have hope. They have a chance to keep moving forward in the right direction here. And the other teams...
I mentioned the Steelers, they got no chance.
No, the Steelers, next question. They need a quarterback. Yeah. What are we doing?
Darnold, but...
And is that going to get him over the hump? I don't know. Maybe it gets him to the second round.
The Chargers, the Texans, and the Broncos are all interesting because we think they have the quarterback. We think they have the coach, but they play in the AFC.
And the Chargers and Broncos play in the same division.
With Patrick Mahomes. The Packers are in the NFC. Obviously, that gives you an advantage because the NFC, I would think we all could agree, is weaker than the AFC. And we think they have the quarterback and the coach. So they're one of the teams that I'd say in the NFC that I like as well. But it's tough, man. This league changes really fast. Quarterbacks are, look what we're talking. We're talking about Lamar Jackson. Is he not a good quarterback? What are we even talking about with Lamar Jackson? Because he came up short in playoff games? Absolutely. What do you want him to do when the guy drops a 2-point conversion and fumbles the drive before? What do you want him to do? You want Andrews to kick up the ball back to him to catch it and then run it into the end zone? What do you want him to do?
Yeah.
He made 2 bad plays all game. He brought them back. He drove right downfield. He put it in Andrews' chest or lap for the 2-point conversion, and the dude dropped it.
I always try to do this, right? What conversation would you have about a team if one key play went differently, right? So if Andrews catches that pass, right?
We're talking about nothing.
Let's say they go to overtime. Let's say Josh Allen drives right down the field and they score and win. We're having a conversation. Wow, what a valiant
How good is
effort.
Josh Allen?
No, not even just that. Of course, how good is Josh Allen?
Lamar, yeah.
Wow, he brought them back. Yeah, they went down, but he brought them back. What an effort because of one play. It happens all the time in every sport. It's what conversation are we having today if one thing that's kind of random or kind of ridiculous didn't happen? And you can't really say that in the Lions game because they lost by 2 scores, but it's the same concept. It does come down to something that simple sometimes. And I'm sure we're going to do the same exact thing, Mike, next week with whoever loses in Chiefs, Bills, and Eagles, Commanders.
If Josh Allen lays an egg, you're going to have a lot of fucking idiots saying, there's no good at football.
He's a fraud too.
He's a fraud too.
Unbelievable.
Or if Hurts has a bad game.
Oh, if Hurts throws a pick or, can't find a receiver and Saquon doesn't break loose for 2 massive touchdowns.
Like the Jalen Hurts,
he'll get shit on
the
too.
hate is nauseating too. Like, who is calling Jalen Hurts a top? I mean, like, even the comments. Is Jalen Hurts a good quarterback? Yes. Is he a very good quarterback? Yes. Is he like elite Patrick Mahomes level? No, probably not. He's still young, and all he's done is win in his whole career. But, like, what are we talking about?
At the end of the day, there's a top 4, and then there's about 4 to 7 guys who are in the conversation for number 5, right? On any given day, it could be Jayden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Matt Stafford, like Joe Burrow's number 4 or whatever. But there's a number of guys who are number 5, but there's only a top 4. That's obvious. It's obvious. All right, let's talk about the games coming up. Then we have one more football topic, and then we have one baseball topic for you guys at the end of this as well. So let's go through these games quickly. You already mentioned Eagles 5.5 favorites at home against the Commanders. And then on the Chiefs and Bills front in Kansas City, you have the Kansas City Chiefs favored by just 2 points. Both over-unders at 47.5. Mike, you kind of touched around the 5.5 number before. Is there a opening thought to either of these lines that jumps out to you? Is there a gut feel, a gut play for one of these 2 games for you?
They're so hard. The NFL at this point is so hard. And I've said it a few times as we recorded. I'm doing this one bet every year, every day for the whole entire year. And as I learn and get more comfortable, I realize that, like, the sharp thing to do is not even really bet the spread or the total of these games, because it's just like they're just so on the money with most of these, and there's no edge. If you're like a real sharp gambler, there's no edge in these games. But not to be a Karen, I'll still pick the games. But like gun to head, they're tough. Chiefs Bills, I'll start with. I'm just not going to pick against Josh Allen. I mean, I'm not going to pick against Patrick Mahomes. If you're going to go in and beat Patrick Mahomes, then so be it. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be the guy that's saying this is going to be the first time that somebody goes into the Chiefs in Arrowhead and beats Mahomes and those boys. So I'll take the Chiefs. On the other end, I want to take Washington as the sexy underdog, and Jayden Daniels is the better quarterback, and they're the hot team. And like, the eye test tells me that they're probably like maybe the better team, but Philly's got a great defense, and nobody could stop Saquon. So I'll go Philly. I'll go both favorites. Philly -5, Chiefs minus, I think they're 1.5. Don't love either one.
I'm sure in your life it's very similar because we're both, New York tri-state area guys. So it's a lot of Giants fans, a lot of Jets fans. People are just pissed right now. They're like, God damn it. No matter what, the New York fans going to be pissed. It's going to be the Mahomes and the Chiefs again, or it'll be the Bills, who are the Jets' rival, or it'll be the Eagles or Commanders, who are the Giants' rivals. So New Yorkers are going through it right now. I took the Eagles to win the Super Bowl before the playoffs started, so I'm kind of riding that.
You're looking good. Good.
Looking good on that front. I just thought that they were the most talented team in the NFC, and it's shown out that they are more talented to this point. I think it's going to show out again. I think it's going to be a little tougher on the Washington Commanders to really get everything going the way they want it. I still think they're going to get theirs, but I do think the Eagles can play up to a higher scoring level, if you will. I think there's points in that game. I think Commanders-Eagles is points, where the Bills and Chiefs, I just have no freaking clue what's going to happen. You can tell me that Mahomes and Allen both throw 4 touchdowns. You could tell me they both throw 0 touchdowns, and it's still a close game. Like, that game's coming down to 1 score, guaranteed. So if I'm really going to go crazy here and try to make my best pick, I don't like teasing somebody from 5.5 through the 0. So maybe I would go, and I don't have the odds on this right now, but I would go maybe like Eagles money line, and then Chiefs, maybe you get them up to Bills, you can get up to like +8 or +9, and that'll probably give you even odds. Like, because I think we're seeing a close game in Buffalo and Kansas City, and I'm actually seeing that line down to 1.5 now on DraftKings here. Do you think that both games are close, Mike, or do you think that one, like the Eagles Commanders, has blowout potential?
I mean, I guess if I had to pick one, that one would be the one that has blowout potential. I agree with you. If I could tease the Bills up, I told you this last week, plus 1.5 is a very good, sharp line to tease. The problem is you don't have another line to tease that with. I told you last week, tease the Chiefs down, and then either the Ravens or Bills up. That would have hit. Didn't take it, so I can't really say anything. Can't be puffing my chest. But I do like teasing the Bills up to 8.5 in this spot, but the problem is I don't love anything to tease it with. To answer your question, the blowout would obviously be the Eagles have the better chance to blow them out than the Chiefs do, though, right?
Yeah, it couldn't be a standard like 6-point tease. You'd have to get cute with it, you know what I mean? So you'd have to really play with it. If you go Eagles down to minus 1.5 and
or plus 1.5.
No, I'm saying like true. I guess if you go with the standard tease, you go down up to plus 1.5,
which doesn't do anything. So you're not getting like
there's no value.
You're technically not getting value on the teaser because you're getting 1.5. It's like
that's why I'm saying like if you actually take it more. Like if you make it yourself, like if you just go into DraftKings or FanDuel, whatever, and just go alternate
and then
line,
pick the lines,
yeah, you can get Bills plus 8.5. So you get an extra, you get 7 points on the Bills, and then you only take 4 points on the Eagles front, and you can get minus 118. So Eagles minus 1.5, Bills plus 8.5. That's minus 118. So that's pretty reasonable.
I like that,
and it's a little bit square, frankly, but I think it's not that square to bet semi against Kansas City.
For me with that, I'd almost rather just try to pick one of the games right, too.
Right. I feel that. You're like, why are you getting cute? And then all of a sudden...
Because now you need to kind of correctly in some way predict both games.
Yeah.
Like the Eagles have to win, and then you need the Bills to keep it close.
Yeah.
But I do like the 8.5 because you get the one possession. And I would like to think that game would be one possession.
Because the Chiefs could win by 9, but it feels unlikely. It just feels like that's coming down to one possession. Like
hope so.
There's
As
a drive
fan,
at the
I hope
end
so.
of the game. Yeah, someone's gonna have a chance to win it in the last possession. It's gonna happen, guaranteed. All right, that's all we got. We'll definitely do some. Well, not all we got for the pod, but all we got for those two games at least. We'll do some more breakdown. We'll have picks.
Well, I'd like to say, guess what? If you haven't seen it yet, guess what Saquon's over rushing yards is.
I have not seen it yet. I'm gonna guess 121.5.
Ooh, good guess. It's the highest I've ever seen, and I told you guys this last week. I don't want to say I'm a chronic gambler, but I'm a loser. I like math. I study lines. I make spreadsheets. I have kept pretty much a spreadsheet every single week of every single player's line throughout the year. I have never seen one this high in all my life. Saquon Barkley rushing total is on FanDuel right now 125.
Oh my God. I'm taking
Never seen anything that high.
I'm taking it, dude.
And to me, that tells you you got to take the over.
What do you have? $196 in this last game?
The problem was I never loved taking a player after they just shattered the line.
That's fair, but he's silly. He's silly out there in Philly.
You have to think that. Another thing that sucks is if they're down, he's not going to hit it. So it's got to be close or he's got to be winning. If they go down, then
I bet you his rushing plus receiving yards prop is probably outrageous. It's probably 142 or something like that.
Let's see.
It's 150. Jesus Christ.
142 on FanDuel. It's on 150 on DK.
His rushing, receiving.
I'd like to see where these move. So throughout the whole entire year, it's funny. The NFL didn't drop their lines till Friday, usually for the Sunday games. Now they're dropping them on Monday. Interesting stuff.
Saquon's rushing plus receiving over-under is 146.5.
That's a lot of yards.
That's
a lot of yards. That won't be my play of the day.
I tweeted it out the other day on Sunday morning. I'm like, listen, Saquon's line is outrageously high, and guess what? I'm taking it. And it hit. Now, granted, did I throw that in a parlay with 3 other legs and 1 missed and I'm devastated? Yeah, absolutely, because I'm an idiot, and I keep doing this to myself. But I also had a decent weekend. Did you see my play? I put it on Twitter, Mike, where I did the
yes
Texans plus.
But you and Oh yeah, you and Cody hit something, right?
Well, Cody hit something else as well, but no, I was talking about on the pod with you last week about how you take the Texans plus 8.5, and then you take the Chiefs money line. It's plus 196, whatever. So I didn't place it until closer to game time.
And you got it at 9.5?
I got it at 9.5.
Yes.
So when they missed that field goal, dude, I was
so you won.
Devastated. I won.
Oh yeah, you won because
of the safety.
Yeah, you won the safety.
Absolutely outrageous. Anyways, I digress. Let's talk about one more football thing quickly, and we'll go to baseball.
Isn't it fascinating?
Dodgers.
So my buddy last night was saying, this could be a decent clip, was saying, they know. Yeah. And I said,
who knows?
Wait a second. When we were like drunk, so I was like getting a little loud, and I was like, wait a second. So what you're telling me is somebody called down and said, yeah, Andy, we got a lot of money on the you guys not covering. We're going to make a lot of money you guys not covering. So what you're going to do here with 5 seconds left is you're going to take the snap, you're going to have your punter run out of bounds, and then take like 7 seconds off the clock. So then the spread goes from we hit the spread and we hit good money. So have your punter run out and get a safety right now, and then we'll give you some money on the side. I said, do you think that's what happened? And then he was like, like I said, we had a few beers. He's like, I'm telling you. It's like, you're a fucking idiot if you think that. You're a fucking idiot if you think that's true.
It's like, yeah, when you put it that way, it sounds pretty far-fetched.
But like, dude, what do you think happened? Like, you think that Vegas needed the Chiefs not to cover, so they told them, and then had the Chiefs run that play? Like, what do you think?
Like, do you think that there's a guy out there who works for every team who has a spreadsheet? You know how they have the spreadsheet of like, all right, go for it on 4th down if it's 4th and 2 or less in this part of the field, whatever. There's another guy with a spreadsheet who's like, all right, if there's a chance for us to make it a 9-point game instead of an 8-point game, we have to do it so our Vegas Mafia daddies give us our money. Like, what do we think's going on here? Why Andy Reid is preparing for a full week of a war on the football field with a great football team that he's also worried about if he should block a field goal or have his punter run out of bounds. Like, get out of here. You're telling me like if Pacheco didn't run for a 1st down, they would have been pissed. The Mafia would have came after freaking Andy Reid. Get out of here. It's unbelievable, Mike. I could not agree more. 2 things we're completely aligned on: fraud talk and it's fixed talk.
Just because you suck at gambling doesn't mean it's fixed.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, speaking of fixed, why don't we talk about the NFL referees, Mike? Why don't we talk about...
That you can have a problem with. And this is what I do have a problem with. The NFL officiating. And I was going...
Talk to me.
I didn't even have money on the game on Saturday. I told you I was doing one play. I do one play per day. And I don't bet the NFL games because you get no edge on them. They're impossible. So I haven't been in college basketball, which... easiest thing of all time. Doing great in it so far. So I was cool. I was a fan rooting for the Texans because... not outwardly rooting for the Texans, but like everybody rooting for the Texans. And Patrick Mahomes gets the call in the beginning of the game, which would have been a 4th down. And then he gets the call, I believe, again on a 3rd down in like the 3rd or 4th quarter when he's scrambling, and then the 2 guys in the Texans collide. And then last night, when I did have money in the game, they call a pass interference on Keon Coleman on 3rd down, and they gave him a 1st down, and it led to a touchdown instead of a long field goal, I believe. And I'm saying to myself, how many times are we going to allow refs to dictate the outcome of huge games? I've been saying it for years. I said it on Saturday. I said it on Sunday. I bet we say it again this weekend. And I don't even want to blame the officials because it's so fast. The game is moving too fast. And you cannot just, there's too much human error that the human error is to make mistakes. So I have a solution to the NFL's problem. There should be 4 officials. I believe you have 4 refs. There should be 4 officials on the field. And for the most part, they move the ball, they move the chains, they spot the ball, they do all the timeouts and all that shit. They keep the clock moving, they watch the play clock. But the penalties come from a booth upstairs. And there's 4 guys that are sitting in a room with a bunch of TV screens, and they're able to say, pass interference. And they have all these different screens, and they radio it down to the officials and they say, hey, guys, the two Texans players collided heads. Patrick Mahomes did not get hit. That's not pass interference. That's not a 15-yard penalty. Hey, guys, Keon Coleman and the defender, whose name I don't know, were both pushing each other. Tre'Davious White were both pushing each other and grabbing each other. That's not pass interference. You cannot call that there. And I haven't, ironed it out how to get it down the right way. Like, maybe the refs make the call on the field, and you have people in the booth that review it automatically. But there has to be a change because it happens every fucking year, and it drives me nuts that we put all this time into these games. We put all this time from 8 months ago, all this preparation, all these games from preseason to practice to July camp to the regular season, now to the playoffs, now to the championship games. And you're going to continue to have games dictated by the officials. And how do you stop it? Because there's a way.
It's nearly impossible. But, yeah, go ahead.
But there's a way. Well, like you said, it's nearly impossible.
But it's not.
Or can you make it better?
Can you make it better? That's exactly right. So here's my thing. Two things have to be true if this is going to be the case. A, it has to be fast. And B, it has to be figured out if the teams have say in is it challenges or is it going to be across the board just made decisions by these referees in the sky, right? Those are the two things to me. Is it going to be fast, and is it going to be in the hands of the coaches and the teams? Because they're already started in the NFL this year, the quick reviews, right? With where a ball is placed. Oh, they placed that ball 1 yard short. You're watching it on TV. They're short. That's 1 yard short on the placement. And then upstairs, they see it, and they're like, no. That ball needs to be on the 41, not the 40. And then, boom, they're done. It happens very quick. It has to be quick. And is it going to be a decision for the coaches, or is it going to be automatic? Those are the two things that you need to have ironed out, and you could make this better. So I don't know how much soccer you watch, Mike. Do you watch any soccer? So the English, go ahead. No, nothing?
No, I don't watch soccer. My girlfriend's dad is into it because he's a big Italian. But what about the La Liga, maybe? The Serie A? Some of that shit.
Serie A is the Italian
league.
La Liga is Spanish. Premier League is the English. I watch Premier League mostly, but this is why I bring it up.
Go on.
They have something called VAR. It's video aid review or some crap like that. VAR. It happens automatically. There's no such thing as a coach's challenge. So if there's a goal and somebody upstairs says, hey, that's close. That's close. Check it out. Or the ref sees it and says, hey, I made this call. I called the goal good, but I think we got to check that out. And they go up and they check it out and they say that's a goal or that was offsides, not a goal. It's that concept. They do it for some stuff. Can they do it for all of it? Can they do it for judgment calls, right? For offsides.
That's the problem.
Right. Offsides in soccer is not really a judgment call when you can pinpoint if somebody's shoulder is past someone else's shoulder. In the NFL, can you pinpoint if Keon Coleman pushed off or if the DB pushed off? That's really difficult. And then is it meant to be seen in slow motion? Does it look the same in slow motion? Because you can find plays on a quarterback running out of bounds, and if you see it in slow motion, it's like, oh my God, he pushed him when he was out of bounds. Then you watch it in real time, it's like, it was pretty close. He was right there. You know what I mean? So can it be quick, and is it in the hands of the coaches? Those are my two big questions.
Yeah. I'm just thinking out loud now. Maybe because a lot of the rules are subjective. And it comes down to, your opinion versus my opinion. Maybe you do something, and I'm just spitballing now, but maybe you do something like you got 4 of these dumbass officials that they always have these rules and analyst guy. You have 4 of them in the room, and it's just, hey, 3 out of 4 of us think it's pass interference, it's pass interference. If not, call stays.
Call stands on my 3 out of 4. I like that.
If 3 out of 4 of us think that Patrick Mahomes was dancing in the pocket and then the two Texans collided and didn't hit Mahomes when he was scrambling, think that, maybe the refs on the field made a bad call, you can pick it up. They also missed a call in the Lions game when Goff got popped, but
and I know
on the
what
pick
do you think
six.
About Goff got annihilated. I meant to bring that up before.
Which was a penalty.
Yeah, if he was actually worse because of that, he might have been concussed, let's be honest. But besides the point, I don't want to go through that again. There are some gamblers out there, Mike, who look at referee groups and say, hey, Patrick Mahomes is 8-2 with this guy refereeing, whatever. I hate that stuff. I think that if you are a player or a coach or a fan of a team and truly believe that your team can't win with a certain guy refereeing, I find that pathetic, honestly. Like, you should not allow a referee to change the outcome of a game. They do sometimes. But to me, I know gamblers look at it. I can't. To me, it just drives me nuts. It's like, oh, Mahomes never loses when this guy's refereeing. He must be in his back pocket. It's like, come on. Are we being that serious? How about the Chiefs have just won everything always since Mahomes has been the quarterback? Doesn't matter who the referee is. His record's the same with every referee because he doesn't freaking lose. So like I don't know. As a gambler, do you look at that stuff?
I've been gambling for a long time, and I've gambled in a lot of games in my life, and I can honestly say I've never in my entire life looked at who an official was for the game.
Yeah, same. And some people do, and I just can't. I can't bring myself to do that. So I don't know.
It's not one of my. It's not one of my edges.
We'll see if the NFL makes more changes. I think the thing with like placing a spot of a ball and them doing that quickly is a step in the right direction. But some of these things, and again, to the point of like Troy Aikman being the color commentary guy saying, I don't know what a pass interference is anymore. I don't know what a catch is anymore. I don't know what this is anymore. Like, that should be more detrimental to us as fans than it actually is. Because we're all sitting on the couch agreeing with Troy Aikman being like, you know what? I think that was a catch, but I have no freaking clue. And we shouldn't be watching a sport that we watch 7 hours every Sunday, 11 hours, 14 hours a week, and we don't know what certain things are. That's insane. It shouldn't be a thing, and it definitely still is. Horrible.
Yeah. Agreed.
Mm-hmm. All right, I digress on that front. Last topic for the day, Mike Dino, Pete Kennedy on Subway Sports Talk. The Los Angeles Dodgers, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
I have to bring out Michael now. I never called you that before, but this is serious. This is real. The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Michael's fair game.
Continue to sign people, spending money like it's nobody's business. People making comments about deferrals and how, of course, you can pay all these guys when you're not paying Shohei all this money. It's like, nah, it's not exactly how it works. The Dodgers are just putting their money where their mouth is and spending. Is this reached a point, Mike, with the Dodgers spending spree that it is the most intensive spending spree that we've seen in the sport?
It is. It's gotten to a point when it's ridiculous. And it's coming from a diehard Met fan that hates the Yankees so much. But I did see an interesting tweet yesterday, and I'm going to pull it up. It's from this guy Nugget, who posts good analytical stats on baseball. And he said, funny, I love looking at my favorites. One of them is Jalen Hurts helping the Eagles to get to the NFC Championship, and the dude's in a truck, and he's in the back of the truck, like standing and pushing the window. Obviously not. It's hysterical. The Jalen Hurts slander is hysterical. It got 2 million impressions. But this guy says, Nugget Chef. Because Passan said that the Dodgers have a $70 million higher payroll than the next highest team, Philadelphia, which I was surprised that it wasn't the Mets, than the Yankees. Nugget Chef said in 2005, exactly 2 decades ago, the Yankees' payroll is $85 million. Oh, yeah, $85 million higher than the next highest team, the Red Sox, and was more than double than the third highest team, the Mets.
Wow.
So the Yankees were doing the same exact thing for the last 20 years, and now everyone... Sorry, I don't know what that was, but it's just funny that the Yankee fans have this panic attack. Sorry, no, my headphones might have got messed up. Good? Still going?
Yeah, I hear you.
I went like, I don't know what that was. But Yankee fans have this panic attack, this woe is me attack, that like they haven't spent money and bought championships for the last 25 years. What the Dodgers doing right now is pathetic, and it's terrible for baseball, and they're probably going to go into a major lockout after the deal ends, and I believe after this next year in 2027, 2028, one of those years. And the MLB is a big problem because it's a joke right now what the Dodgers are doing, deferring all this money, and they're able to build this championship super team like we've never seen in baseball since the Yankees did it in 2005. But it's not unseen. As Nugget Chef just told us, the Yankees were doing the same thing in 2005. It just seems more now because it's more money. They're spending more money, but it's all relative because the dollar amount now is more than it was in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
So...
No, it's one of these things where the context matters because you said in 2005 the Yankees were 85 million more than second place and more like double the third place. Now you have the Mets and the Yankees and the Phillies spending money. So that difference between first and third is not as large, but the difference in what the Dodgers are doing, they're operating on a different wavelength than every other team in the league. And it's not even Mets versus Dodgers. I'm sorry. Yeah, Dodgers versus Mets, Dodgers versus Yankees. At some point, does baseball have to look at this and say there needs to be a salary floor, right? Like, what's the fix here? They don't have a salary cap. You have to just pay taxes, which was imposed more so because of Steve Cohen, and now the Dodgers are.
Yeah, he tweeted about that.
I think that was a fake account. I do think, right? Or did he actually?
Of course.
I think it was.
I got probably was a fake account.
But like the tax.
I hate those fake accounts. Can I say that? I hate those fake accounts. If you have a fake account with the picture of the guy and the real in the same name,
and you pay for blue,
you have nothing better to do than do that. I hate people that do that.
And people like that pay for Twitter Blue or X Blue, whatever the hell it's called, X Verified.
Fucking nerds. Too many nerds. Bring back bullying.
It's fine for, I'm not hating on paying for Verified. I do it. But if you're paying for Verified for a fake account, come on, dude. Because you know what? I don't know if Stephen Cohen's Twitter name is Stephen Cohen or Stephen A. Cohen or Stephen Cohen 2. I don't know.
Study Stephen Cohen's fucking Twitter name.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, no, I think I got duped by that too. But at some point, does baseball have to put a floor in? Because how can you have a team in the same freaking sport spending, $350 million on payroll and a team spending $65 million on payroll? It's not the same sport. Like if this was, I'm going to bring English Premier League back into it. There isn't as much a cap in the English Premier League. There's more of like I don't know exactly how it works, but there's like a threshold of what you can spend based on how much you earn. So that kind of makes some sort of sense, whatever. But you can get relegated in that sport, right? You can get dropped out. Like if this was the case in the MLB here today, like you're going to have teams spending $60 million because they're just tanking. They don't care about anything. They don't care about winning. They don't care about putting a product out there. Send them down, right? Like what's going to give with baseball where the bottom of the barrel teams have no interest in making their product and their team better, no interest in winning. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you got teams spending at an all-time freaking high. It doesn't make sense to me. There has to be a floor, maybe a salary cap ceiling as well. I don't know, but at some point, baseball is going to have to do something to make this make sense. And this will affect the Mets negatively. So I'm not doing this as a fanboy. Oh, the Dodgers, they're going to beat the Mets because I'm sad now. No, I don't give a shit about that. It's going to hurt the Mets. That's okay because the sport could be better if you made teams have to be better, have to put a product out on the field.
Well said. Spin facts. I agree. The MLB has to do something. But let's not act like this has not been the mojo for the MLB over the last 20 years.
No, it's forever.
This has been the MLB forever. Nothing's changed. The Dodgers are now doing it on steroids, but like from mathematics, it seems like the Yankees were doing the same thing, but nobody cared because they were winning, and all the Yankee fans are just put their blindfolders on, and now they're all gung-ho. Be lucky that you play in the AL because the guys like us, I mean, we have no, and I said this, I was with my family, and we have no chance to beat the Dodgers.
Who does? I mean, granted, baseball is a weird sport.
Like a lot of Met fans think like we Mets have no chance to beat the Dodgers.
The Mets are going to have a hard time getting out of the NFC East.
They're the
NFC
yeah, the
East.
NL
East. God damn, crossing sports over here.
Yeah, too many sports. The Mets are the third favorite to come out of the win the East. Like the Phillies and the Braves have better World Series odds than the Mets and have higher win total projections than the Mets this year. So, as a Mets fan, I don't know how that's possible. I could see the Mets being better than Atlanta and Philly for sure, but like we have no shot to be better than the Dodgers.
Nobody
Dodgers
does.
are unbelievable. I've never seen a team in the last, I'll say, 10, 15 years assembled like this before the Yankees when they did it.
Well, let me hit you with a spin zone really quick.
But the MLB has to do something.
This is one thing that is good for sports, and I talked about this to you, I think 2 weeks ago. We actually may have never put out the episode about talking about the playoffs. I don't think I ever put it out. Saving it for something. I don't know what. But sports like the NBA and the MLB, they do need somebody at the top of the mountain to create mass interest. Right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So the NBA needs the Boston Celtics to be at the top of the mountain. So the upstart, Memphis Grizzlies have somebody to knock down. The Knicks have somebody to chase. The Cavaliers still got to get through somebody to make it to the mountaintop. The Thunder need to still get over a hump of a champion already, right? In MLB, we have that now. We now have a big bad wolf that if you're not a Dodgers fan, you freaking hate them. If you're not a shill or a Dodgers fan, you hate them, right? And MLB can use that to its advantage because now every fan base, Yankees, Mets, Braves, Phillies, Boston, if you want to go to some of the other teams like Arizona, who's going to compete, like they're all going to despise the Dodgers together, the Padres. And that could be a good thing for baseball. That could be something, unless the Dodgers just roll through everybody and win, and then it sucks.
Can I be that guy that would rather the Dodgers win than the Yankees without any sort of question?
Oh, for sure, though. That's
okay, you
fair.
agree
That's
with
fine.
that?
Yeah, you know what?
Cool.
For the sake of this podcast, I do root for the Yankees to an extent because I've always said this: if the Mets and Yankees are good, everything is better in New York when it comes to sports.
Agreed.
If the Giants and Jets
but
are
I don't
good,
give
same
a
concept.
flying, and I keep cursing. I don't know if we should, but I don't give a flying. You know what? If my Yankee fans are happy,
fuck it.
Yeah, I don't care about them. I don't care about their happiness. I want them to be miserable.
Yeah.
So I'm not rooting for the Yankees to be good. If you said that the Yankees or the Dodgers are going to win it this year, it's not even a question for me.
I think part of it is because working at the fan.
And Ohio State's about to win.
Is that right? What's the score there?
They're about to go up 28-7.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Notre Dame frauds.
What a snooze fest.
Notre Dame frauds.
Yeah.
Freaking frauds.
Oh, what a surprise. A college football championship game sucks.
Guys. The only two guys who would actually record a podcast during the college football championship.
I have no interest in. I told you I don't care about college football.
Neither do I. I do not.
Another product that is just not very good.
Yeah, this playoff didn't really teach us anything because people are going to say, "Oh, look, an 8 seed won." It's like, well, this was a really weird year. There was no real top dogs, and yeah, an 8 seed won. That doesn't mean they were the best team in college football. This does not align with any other champion in the history.
Well, we should wrap
sport.
up with this because this could be a good clip. Was the playoffs, college, a good or bad thing for college football?
I think it was a bad thing for college football because it's creating a confusion and false hope for fan bases. It's creating something that's not real. At the end of the day, the favorites generally won. At the end of the day, we have a team that is winning the college football playoff who should have and could have been the top dog in the old school fashion. They lost one crazy game to Michigan that they got embarrassed by. But at the end of the entire first year of the extended college football playoffs, people are going to make arguments that I don't think are accurate. Oh, look, you got more teams in and you got a lower seed who actually won it. It wasn't the top four. It was a down year for all the big dogs. This is not going to continue. College football is a mess, if you ask me right now. The NIL is out of control. Paying players just straight up to transfer is out of control. It is going to bite them in the ass in a major way. And I have no faith that the college football playoff got better because they extended it.
How would you change it if the two of us were the committee right now? How would you change it next year or moving forward?
8 teams straight up. No, 12 is outrageous, ridiculous. The difference in a normal college football year between the top 3 and number 10 is massive. And guess what? This year we did 12. The difference between the true top 6 or 7 teams, not the rankings, the actual top 6 or 7 teams, if you ask people who watch the sport, and the bottom 6 teams, massive. So we are trying to learn from a year that was not reality. It was not accurate based upon what college football has been every year for the past 10. So I think people are learning bad lessons from this year's college football playoff, and we're going to argue that it's good to have more teams in. It's not. It's not. Stop diluting the product. They will never do it because they make more money, and unfortunately now amateur sports is a money-making business too, and here we are going to watch diluted, crappy teams in the playoff that have no shot to win a national title.
Well said. I think that's your clip. I think that's your mic drop.
Bang. Booyakasha.
Yeah. I'm fine ending it like that.
There you go. Subway Sports Talk. That's all we got. Mike Didino, what a time to be alive. Talking sports.
How long did we go? I don't even want to know how long we went. We
Hour
go
10.
over an hour?
Hour 10.
Okay.
Not bad. Not bad.
Felt about an hour.
Yeah, that's it. So TikTok's back. NFL playoffs is here. Which game are you more excited for, though? Commanders, Eagles, or
Come
Chiefs,
on,
Bills?
man. If you ain't more excited for the Chiefs Bills game, then you need to get your brain reevaluated.
All right, very fair, very fair. Mahomes, Allen, what is this, their third or fourth instance
I
in the
believe
playoffs?
it's times 3.
Yeah, that's great. If you had it your way, just like not on who you think's going to win, if you had it your way, who do you see in the Super Bowl?
Meaning, who do I want to win?
Yeah, like who are you rooting for to face off in the Super Bowl?
I'm such a petty son of a bitch that I kind of like to see the Chiefs make it and the Commanders make it because I like Jayden and I'd like to see the underdog get there. And then, like, I'm not just like, I like Josh Allen. I'm not going to be that guy that doesn't like Josh Allen, but
Yeah.
I'm not into the Bills Mafia, all that crap.
I think from
I don't hate Patrick Mahomes because he's better than everybody else.
Me
and
neither.
I always have liked Andy Reid.
Same. Even honestly, as a Giants fan, I even liked Andy Reid with the Eagles, and I hate to admit that, but it's true. Like Terrell Owens was my favorite player growing up.
I was always a Michael Vick guy, so I liked Andy Reid.
Same. Boom. Look at that. So I think the best storyline for me would be Mahomes versus Daniels. I think that's the best. I think that's
so we're on
like,
the same page again.
you get, instead of 2 weeks of like Eagles Chiefs rematch, blah 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 blah.
I'm not into the rematch one at all.
Yeah, like that's not super fun to me. Seeing
So
Saquon
I'd rather,
in the Super Bowl would be
if
fun.
the Eagles
but like,
won, I'd rather, I guess, the Bills won. But like again, I don't care. I'd like to see a good game. Just give me 3 good games the rest of the year, and I'm content.
very good. All right, very good. That's all we got. Subway Sports Talk, Mike Didino, Pete Kennedy.
Buddy.
Follow us on socials at Subway Sports Talk. You know where it is: Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, all your podcast app, Apple, Spotify, everywhere you listen to podcasts or you get social media, you can find us there and show some love on the socials. You know, drop a comment on the videos, drop a comment on the YouTube. We appreciate y'all very, very much for tapping in, and we'll be back again maybe later in the week and definitely next week. So we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
Peace.